Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to return to the Åland Islands, and this beer was very kindly sent to me by one of my subscribers. So we're going to return to the Åland Islands only brewery, which is called Stallhagen. You'll have seen me review their US Red Ale before, but this beer is their Baltic Porter, which comes in at 7%. And a huge thank you for this review to Ola Brandberg, who's from Stockholm. He travels over to the Åland Islands every month for his work, and he actually sent me 3 different Stallhagen beers, and he told me that you can't actually get these ones outside of Åland, so it's quite a privilege to review these ones for you. He sent me this guy here. He sent me one called Ceremony, which he said was a sort of champagne yeast beer, so that one should be very interesting. And he also sent me a bottle of the famous Shipwrecked 1843 beer, so that one should be another very interesting review, and you can enjoy these over the next little while. So a huge thank you once again to Ola for sending me these beers. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual websites are in the video description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other Stallhagen reviews. You'll see more added to that in the near future thanks to Ola, and there's all the usual social media, Facebook, Twitter and Untappd, so please follow me on there. Your support would be much appreciated, and to those of you watching in the Åland Islands, please do drop a comment below. It'd be great to hear from you guys, and do be sure to let me know your favourite Stallhagen beers, and of course if there are any other breweries that open up in the Åland Islands. I'd love to try some more beer from your part of the world. But I'll also tell you a little bit about the Åland Islands just now, since it's not such a well-known part of the world. But Stallhagen, as I mentioned, are the only brewery on the Åland Islands, and the Åland Islands are just to the southwest of Finland. It's just off the corner, off the coast of that little corner in southwest Finland. But this is an autonomous Swedish-speaking region of Finland. So the Åland Islands were ceded to Russia by Sweden as part of the Treaty of Fredrikshamn back in 1809, and this meant that they became part of the Grand Duchy of Finland within the Russian Empire. But Sweden wanted the island to be non-fortified. However, Russia began to fortify them in 1832 with the building of the fortress at Bomersund, and this was actually captured by the French and British during the Crimean War in 1854 as part of the Baltic campaign, and the islands were demilitarised with the Treaty of Paris in 1856. But Swedish troops actually returned to the Åland Islands as a peacekeeping force between the Red and White factions during the Russian Civil War in 1917, but they were later replaced by the Germans. And in 1919, a petition from citizens who wanted integration into Sweden was signed with over 95% support, and this was a result of the anti-Swedish sentiment in Finland that was going on. Finland at the time were having to deal with attempts at Russification, and they were resisting these quite forcefully, and of course that was taken out on the Swedish people who were living in Finland as well. But Finland actually refused to cede the islands to Sweden, and the case went to the League of Nations, the precursor for the United Nations after the Second World War. But the League of Nations decided that the Åland Islands should be an autonomous Swedish-speaking region of Finland, and they also maintained the demilitarisation, and part of the treaties that were signed to do with all this protected the Swedish language and the Swedish culture, if you like. And there's actually quite a few Swedish people who live along the coast of Finland, so there's quite a big Swedish-speaking community within Finland, and a lot of Finns are fluent in Swedish these days. One of my classmates is actually a Swedish-speaking Finn, so it's pretty cool actually. But to tell you about the brewery itself, Stallhagen were founded in 2004 by a group of beer enthusiasts, and the brewery now have over 1,600 shareholders. The brewery is located in Gräsby, which is about 18 kilometres from this capital city of Mariehamn, and it's actually the only brewery on the islands, like I mentioned before. The current CEO is Jan Wenström, and the brewmaster is Mette Elkholm, who has been with the brewery since 2008, and he trained at the Scandinavian School of Brewing in Copenhagen. Quite a well-known school these days, and of course it's well known for having given birth to all of these wonderful beers that you get from Denmark. But he says he likes to stick to using malts, hops and water and yeast in his beer, so he kind of sticks to a sort of German purity law sort of thing, if you like. One of the brewery's recent exploits was that they were involved in the recreation of a beer dating from the 1840s. This is the famous Shipwrecked beer, of course, and a bottle of this washed up on the shore of the Åland Islands in 2010 in a crate filled with beers and champagne, and the beer was researched by VTT, the Technical Research Centre of Finland, and now Stallhagen will produce this beer at their brewery, and all proceeds of this will go to charitable causes. So this is the beer that I was talking about that Ola sent me to. You'll see me review that very soon, and I'll talk to you about the history of the shipping things in that video too. But just to list a couple of the other beers you can get from these guys in their core range, there's the Stallhagen 3, Delicat, Honey Beer, Pale Ale, US Red Ale, and there's the Baltic Porter as well. They do a number of limited edition beers as well, so if you want to find out about those, do just check out the brewery website and you can get an idea of all the different things they do. They've got special beers and they've got seasonal ones too. So without further ado then, let's actually get on to the tasting of this one. So you can see on the top, on the bottle here, I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork. You can see there's a pig and a hen there. It's quite shiny, so the camera's being a little bit funny with it, but there's a pig and a hen there, and it says pig and rooster on this one. So I don't know exactly what the significance of that is, if they are maybe national animals of the Åland Islands. So one of you watching from the Åland Islands could kindly let me know about that. That would be quite interesting. But it says on the back here, the Baltic Triangle between Stockholm, Åland and Riga holds more shipwrecks than the infamous Bermuda Triangle. In the depths of the entire Baltic Sea, there are at least 100,000 shipwrecks. Stallhagen Baltic Porter gets its unique taste from a dark roasted and smoked barley malt. The high alcohol content in the traditional Baltic Porter helps it to keep it fresh along the journeys on the long seas. The pig and rooster tattoo on this bottle is a label from an old sailor tradition. It was believed that a pig tattooed on the left foot and a rooster on the right would protect the sailor from drowning if his ship was wrecked. So I guess that's the tradition of why this beer has the pig and the rooster. So it's quite cool actually. You can see there's the bottle cap for Stallhagen there. It says handmade in the Åland Islands. So this one, it should be very cool. Just to tell you the specs of this beer, as I mentioned, it comes in at 7.2%. It's hopped with Saps, which is Austrian, Magnum, which I think comes from America. There's an experimental hop in there as well, EBC 141. It may have been renamed. I tried Googling that, but I couldn't find it. But it uses a malt base of Pilsner and Munich malts and a special blend of malts made exclusively by Mate, which are blended and smoked on site at the brewery in Godby over in Åland. So without further ado then, let's get this guy open and we'll get on with the tasting. It should be really quite interesting. So, as you can see, a really nice smoky opening with this one. And this looks like a very, very nice beer. So Ola, who sent me these beers, was telling me that I should go to Åland in one of the summers, and I think I'll maybe try and do that, not summer 2016, but I'll maybe try and give it a go in summer 2017 when my missus moves over from Japan. So that's something that I definitely want to do fairly soon. It would be really, really cool to go and see the Åland Islands. As I told you, not such a well-known part of the world. I knew it from when I studied history at school, when we did the League of Nations and interwar Europe and things like that. That was very interesting. That's the only reason I knew of them, but it's somewhere that I need to go and visit now that I've tried some of their beer. It should be a very cool place, and it's supposed to be very beautiful and very nice. So yeah, as you can see, this beer is poured a really nice dark sort of ebony wood colour. I'll just check that you're seeing that right. But you can see it's got, if I hold it up to the light, it doesn't even have a, it's got a little bit of a ruby edge to it, but overall it's really quite just an ebony colour. There's a finger of a frothy beige tan head on this, and there's some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, but a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head there. But it looks really quite interesting. So let's give this a smell and see how we get on. So as you would expect, you've got a nice smoky character coming out of this. But it's more of a sweet smoke, if that makes sense. There's a lot of chocolate, a really nice chocolate aroma coming out of this one actually, but you can smell some of the roasted bready character. Nice dark roasted malt just underpinning this beer, a little bit of coffee. You can detect a little bit of the sweeter smoky notes in there, like I said. There's some sweet caramel, some dark chocolate, but a little bit of milky chocolate as well actually. You get a little bit of the red fruity esters out of this beer as well, a sort of candied fruit. There's a bit of earthy hop, but there's a big kind of bready malt base to this beer as well. It does smell really quite sweet, especially when you sugar it up like this. You can smell some of the real roasted and milky chocolate coming out of this beer. But it smells like another very nice effort from Stallhagen. So without further ado then, let's get stuck into this beer. As I always say, give your beers a bit of a smell before you actually try them, and Stallhagen produce some really, really good stuff. So let's get stuck into this one. This is the Baltic Porter from Stallhagen in Godby on the Åland Islands. Thank you once again to Ola for sending me this beer. Slanje, skål. Oh yeah, now that's nice. When I was expecting this beer to be a bit more roasted and sort of smoky, if you like, but to me it actually comes across as quite sweet. The chocolate in this one is really bringing out a nice sweetness in the middle of the tongue, and I can see, Ola told me that this was a really, really nice beer, and I can see what he means. It's a very nice and sweet porter. It actually reminds me a little bit of the Sinnebrikov from Finland actually. That was a very, very nice beer when I reviewed that one. That was my first Finnish beer, if you like, that I'd done in quite a long time. The only one I'd reviewed for you before was Lapinkulta. But yeah, this is really, really nice. This is another very good beer from Stallhagen. So in terms of the flavour of this one, the middle of your palate, it's blanketed with this very light bready character, that just goes right across the middle of the tongue, and you've got a lot of sweetness that just builds on top of that. There's a very sweet caramel character just goes down the middle of the tongue. It's almost a little bit biscuity as well. There is a little tiny element of a cereal flavour in there, and that's very nice. And on top of that, you've got these sweet milky chocolate flavours coming out. There's not too much dark chocolate actually noticeable in the flavour of this. It's more a milky chocolate that's coming out in this one for me. There's a bit of a licorice flavour in here too, and you can definitely taste the kind of nutty and almost woody flavour that comes out of this beer. I was reading on the website, it tells you the malt blend that they've used in this. Matty thinks this brings out a very nice nutty and woody flavour. For me, I think it leans a little bit more to the woody side of things than the nutty side, but that's just me. I mean, beer is subjective. You will pick up slightly different flavours from your friends and things like that. But the point is, this is a very, very nice beer. Another very solid effort from Stallhagen. Yeah, this is beautiful. Very easy to drink this one. It's a nice and very smooth porter. Definitely a dessert beer, but they say you should enjoy this with like smoked cheeses. You'd probably enjoy it with steaks and things as well. A dark beer up for me always goes nice with some of these steaks that you can get. But yeah, much like the aroma, this beer, it's got a nice roasted underpinning. Like I said, the malt base, it kind of builds in layers on the tongue. You've got that sweet bready character that underpins it, some sweet chocolate and caramel on top of that. There is a little bit of a roasted character, just a very light hint of coffee, but that's very, very smooth. At the back corners of the palate where the hops come out, you've got a nice smooth earthiness, and there's quite a bit of noble hop character to this as well. The Sats hop, of course, does give you a little bit of grassiness. And there is just a tiny touch of floral character around the front curve of the tongue too. But overall, the hop character in this beer is very, very smooth, and the nutty flavours from the special malt that Matty made in this beer are really obvious. It's very nicely done, and the flavours all blend together very well in this. It's another top class beer from Stallhagen. And that licorice flavour, you'll feel that just behind the front curve of your tongue there. The licorice flavour, I think, comes out more towards the front of the tongue, but it's very, very nice actually. So you do need to give this beer a try. I can see why these Stallhagen beers are very highly rated, in particular the Baltic Porter. And some of the Baltic Porters you'll get, of course, from the actual Baltic countries are absolutely superb. It's a style I find that not so many craft breweries outside of the Baltic region can actually produce. I mean, I always talk about this when I look at Scotch ales. American Scotch ales are a bit too sugary and a bit too sweet in comparison to what a real Scotch ale is, and you'll notice this with Baltic Porters. When you actually try Baltic Porters from the likes of Finland, Sweden, Estonia and things like that, you really notice the difference between those and the ones that are brewed in like America and in Australia and all of these places. They do taste a little bit different. That licorice character that you get in these ones really is what makes it stand out for me. These ones come across as just a bit more sweet, a bit more chocolatey, and they've got that really nice kind of licorice flavour in there. The licorice, of course, is a bit of a staple part of the diet in this part of the world, but this is another very, very nice beer from Stallhagen. Very well balanced. But in terms of the mouthfeel, this is mid-bodied. Carbonation is very, very smooth. It's quite an oily mouthfeel, this. There's just a little bit of roasted character and dryness to it. But overall, it's quite a sweet one. There's a bit of dryness builds in the middle of the tongue. Around the edges of the palate, it is very, very smooth. And there's not much in the way of dryness. Like I said, it does have a little bit of character around the front corner of the palate. But other than that, it's a very smooth and very, very well blended beer. So once again, Stallhagen have produced another very, very good beer. I'm looking forward to reviewing the other ones now. It's always good, I guess, to try something that's a bit lighter, for example the red ale that I did before, and then to try one of the darker beers. That always shows you the two extremes of a brewery's brewing, and they've done very well on both counts for me. So we're going to try some of their more random things next. The Ceremony beer, which is a champagne yeast one, and also that shipwreck beer. So you can look forward to those in the near future, but in the meantime, do go and try the Baltic Porter. This is very nice, and I would recommend this to you if you like Sinebrikov. It's got that very nice sweet Baltic Porter flavour. So if you enjoy the Baltic Porters, you will enjoy this beer. Very nice, very sweet and very well balanced. So a huge thumbs up to Stallhagen once again. But as always, I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. If you have tried this beer yourself, let me know in the comments section below. Always interesting to hear from you guys that are trying the beers too. In the meantime, until the next review, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Go and check out my social media things. Let me know what you think of this beer in the Åland Islands as well, and let me know where in the world you're actually drinking this beer too. It'd be interesting to know where they're going these days, but this is another very, very good beer. So in the meantime, go and check out Stallhagen and try some beers from the Åland Islands, and go and look at some of the Visit Åland Islands sites as well. Thank you once again to Ola, and I'll catch you soon with another one of the beers that he sent me. Cheers.